everyone, and welcome to the show. We like to call it Pancrase, Legends of Mixed Martial Arts. I'm your host, Rob Wu, and sitting alongside me is our expert analyst, our fight insider, Josh Barnett.
Well, you don't get to be the king for nothing.
Amen to that. All right, our first fight, Yoshiki Takahashi and Osami Shibuya. Now, Takahashi is coming off a serious leg injury.
Yeah, he broke his leg, getting a left leg low kick checked by Bas Rutten. Kind of a fluke injury, but his leg being broken in two, no fluke in that.
And I think Bas Rutten, with the nickname El Guapo, he doesn't want anyone else being Guapo. He's busting up people's faces, breaking their legs.
Well, that just kind of comes with the territory when someone is as explosive and dynamic as Bas Rutten. He's just incredibly dangerous, not to mention he's acquiring submission knowledge this entire time. He's training at the Pancrase dojo. He's having these Pancrase fights. He's only becoming more dangerous as this company, Pancrase, goes on.
All right, we'll get to Bas Rutten later, but for now, it's Osami Shibuya versus Yoshiki Takahashi. And we see Yoshiki Takahashi backstage prepping himself, trying to get himself fired up. He might need to. He's been out of the ring for a very long time.
And coming off an injury like that, and Bas coming over, checking on him, discussing the injury, certainly they weren't hoping anybody would get hurt.
And this is actually what happened. His leg right there broke, forcing him to go to the hospital, and he missed over a year of action. What we're seeing was back in May 31st of 1994.
Osami Shibuya versus Yoshiki Takahashi.
As this fight starts, Shibuya looks like he's testing that leg of Takahashi right away, sending some leg kicks down there.
Yeah, and you really can't fault him with that. If Takahashi's got a disadvantage with one of his legs, why not go for it? Why not force him to the area where he's going to have a difficulty already? Takahashi looking for the single leg, and he gets it. But after a few shotes on the feet.
The fighter is near the ropes, and Takahashi slapping Shibuya on the ground. I guess it is legal, but I thought there was an understanding among fighters not to do that.
Well, Takahashi is sort of exempt from that rule. He's a little too hot-headed to stop from to not hit somebody when the opportunity presents itself. And here he is working the headlock and looking to isolate the arm and go for the submission here. Although it is pretty close to the ropes, so unlikely that he'd be able to submit Shibuya, I think, from right here.
And Takahashi, even though we've said he's been out for about a year and a half, not looking too rusty thus far.
No, working the neck crank right there, and even if he doesn't get the submission, he's taking a lot of the wind out of Shibuya by collapsing his rib cage and his diaphragm like that, making it hard for him to breathe.
And Takahashi looking very solid at the start. I don't think he's favoring that leg at all, and that's very important in the fight, not to worry about your leg and just go at it as hard as you can.
Sure, and with this position here, he's just riding Shibuya. He's wearing him out, wearing him down, making his neck tired, and eventually, in proximity to the ropes and maybe considered a stalemate, they start him back on the feet.
Now, Josh, have there been situations when you think a fighter's about to get a hold of the other, but the ref breaks it?
Well, it's just something they're going to have to keep in mind. They got to be aware of where they're at in the ring at all times. So, if the fight gets stopped because they're too close to the ropes, then that fighter that is securing the hold needs to be aware of it. Just like we saw in an earlier match with Fuke dragging Scott Bizak to the center of the ring before applying the heel hold.
And Takahashi had the top position, but now Shibuya, a nice little reverse. He's now on top.
Right, working the mount position, and Takahashi keeping his arms in tight, and Shibuya looking, using
and he is just
slaps of his own.
He's silly. He looks like he's giving him a little taste of his own medicine.
Perhaps he.
He is just unleashing. I guess.
I guess he saw a taste inside his mouth and decided he needed to be knocked out.
I guess if Takahashi can do it, so can he.
Same. I agree. Whatever's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And Takahashi looks very active now. He's once again on top. He doesn't look like he's lost too much of a step since his injury.
No, and he's certainly the better wrestler of the two with his university wrestling experience. Former captain of his university wrestling team coming into play when he limp-armed out of that whizzer on the feet, that overhook from Shibuya, landing himself in the top position, going back to the headlock, and again probably trying to wear Shibuya out, maybe look for the neck lock and the neck crank, or to secure that arm between his legs for the shoulder lock or the straight arm lock.
And Shibuya, the ref will break them apart. Looks like he caught a break. He looked like he was in a little bit of trouble there.
Well, certainly he wasn't getting a rest, I'll tell you that.
Both fighters restart. And exchanging palm strikes, and once again Shibuya going for the takedown. Nice sprawl by Takahashi, not allowing that.
A nice uppercut follow through by Takahashi while he's got Shibuya down there.
And Shibuya seems to be a little short on his takedowns. Is he shooting from too far away, Josh?
Well, he doesn't really have quite the setup to draw Takahashi in to get a clean shot on him. And Takahashi going with the Olympic roll there, putting Shibuya on his back. Not an often seen move in the MMA world, more of a freestyle move, but finding success with it was Takahashi.
Takahashi on the top has a mount on Shibuya. Shibuya puts him in the full guard.
And Takahashi looking to looks like he might be working for the Achilles lock right here. Looking for almost a half crab, and Shibuya trying to respond by catching a leg of his own. I think Takahashi is fighting a very smart fight in the fact that he continues to put Shibuya in a lot of predicaments to wear him down. He seems to be working his neck a lot, and I don't know if that's because he feels that catching the choke may be the way to winning this fight, but he's been very successful here trying to transition into the side choke.
And it looks like he's very close to getting that side choke, Josh.
It looks very tight right here. Shibuya is in a lot of danger if he doesn't get to the ropes.
And he taps out. He does not reach the ropes. Osami Shibuya loses. Yoshiki Takahashi wins in his very first fight back into the rings of Pancrase. He's got to feel real good. First fight in over a year. And he's won.
Yeah, that's a good way to come back.
I'm not sure I saw any ring rust.
Well, it's really hard to say. You know, he did have a nice fight in the way of Shibuya, somebody working their way up the ranks, whereas Takahashi's a seasoned veteran. But at the same time, I think we could see that Shibuya had a lot of potential even from that match, and that it was no easy road about Takahashi to get that win. And the biggest thing is his recovery. I don't think we had to see the full potential of Takahashi right here today. So we'll see how this injury affects him, and that time being out of the ring when he goes up against some of the other guys at the top of the list like Suzuki, Funaki, Rutan, or Shamrock.
And I think we're going to see him improve as he keeps getting back from his rehab. All right, our next match will be Larry Papadopoulos against Katsumi Inagaki. Don't go away.